What's up guys, it's Alex, and today I've got a pretty cool video for you guys. So today we're going to be talking about when bass get conditioned to things. So it's a two-way street. You've got good conditioning and you've got bad conditioning. But they're pretty much made up of the same three factors that condition bass to certain things. That's color, profile, and sound. So when a bass is conditioned to seeing a certain color, seeing a certain profile, and then feeling or hearing a certain sound on their lateral line, they become conditioned to that. And like I said, it's a good and a bad street for both ways. The good street is when a bass is rewarded by hearing those things and it reacts to those things, and then thus it's rewarded with a meal. So if a bass sees a threadfin shad, and say the threadfin shad on average are 3 to 4 inches long, they're a whitish silver color with a black dot on their gill plate, a gill marker. They have a little bit of yellow in them. And when a bass sees that, it sees those colors, it sees that 4 to 5 inch profile, and it hears the sound that those bait fish make while they're going through the water, and it reacts to that, and it's rewarded with a meal. That's good conditioning. Then there's bad conditioning. That's when a bass has a bad experience with something, and usually that has to do with us as anglers. It's when a bass sees that profile, that same kind of profile, because we have so many baits in our box. We've got plastics, hard baits, swim baits, all kinds of stuff that all mimic certain prey items and forage. But if a bass sees, 1,000 rattle traps, it hears that sound, it sees that profile, it sees the colors that are on the rattle trap, and it gets caught 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 times, because catch and release works and bass go back and can be caught more than once. They'll become conditioned to that, and they will no longer react to that profile, sound, and color because they had a bad outcome from it. So good outcomes obviously are good for us as anglers, because that means we can mimic that sound, shape, the profile, and the color and catch bass. And then sometimes it can be bad because bass will get used to seeing certain baits, and you got to mix it up. Show the bass a bait they've never seen before. That's what we kind of mean, is we want to show them something they're not conditioned to yet, something that's going to hit those instincts a little bit different. It's a little bit different vibration, it's a little bit different color, something that's going to just hit it and they're going to react to it. So let's talk about good conditioning. Like I said, it comes down to color, profile, and sound. So this little crankbait is a great representation of bait fish. You guys, if you live anywhere around me or pretty much anywhere in the country, your lake has some kind of forage bait in it for bass. For some people it's shad and other things like that, like I have. For some people it's bluegills, for some people it's crawdads. For the most part, most lakes are going to have all three. Some just have 2, some just have 1. But this little crankbait is a great representation of, say, a threadfin shad. 2.5 inches long. It's got a little bit of blue on it, a little bit of chartreuse. It's got that black dot on there, which is like the gill marker. It's got those big green, crazy looking eyes that bait fish have. They're just very big and open all the time. It's going to come through the water with a similar sound. It rattles. When the crankbait's coming through the water, it's going like that. It's rattling, it's moving, it puts off a similar sound profile, and that's really what bait designers do, is they study these bait fish, come up with similar sound profiles, and then it has the same size profile, that 2.5, 3 inch, that 3 inch size. So if bass are conditioned to eating a bait like this, or a bait that looks like that, then they're going to eat this bait, and in turn you guys are going to catch fish. Same thing goes with, say, this orange crankbait. Now you're saying to yourself, but Alex, there are no orange bait fish in the lake. There's not a bait fish that look like that. But there are crawdads that look like that. And that's when it's one of the factors that play into what bass eat. So if a bass is conditioned to seeing crawdads that are that crazy orange or red color, because crawdads, if you guys have studied them at all or looked at them at all, they change all kinds of crazy colors. My crawdads in the fall, they get a lot of orange on them, and it's literally a methylate orange like that. It stands out in the water. So if a bass is conditioned to seeing that color, it reacts to that color and it's rewarded with a meal. Then when it sees this color coming through the water, even though it's moving faster, it may be a little bit different profile than what they're used to. That color hits those instincts, they attack it, and thus you catch fish. Same thing applies to plastics or rattle traps or spinner baits or anything like that. If it is used to seeing a profile and it knows when it eats that profile, that sound and that color, when it's conditioned to those things and it's rewarded with a meal, it's going to eat more of that thing. Because a bass is a super simple animal. They're not smart. They don't think. They're not like me and you. They don't think when a crankbait swims by, oh, that's a crankbait and I'm not going to eat it. Or when a crawdad walks up, hey, that's a good looking crawdad, I'm going to eat you. They don't think like that. They're just totally instinctual. So, you know, like a bass is literally made to do a few things. Swim, eat, poop, make babies, and repeat the process over again. That's all a bass is wired to do. But its instincts can become conditioned to certain things like colors, sounds, and profiles. And so when you mimic those colors, sounds, and profiles, and you do it the right way, what correlates to what the bass are eating, then you guys are going to catch fish. And like I said, on lakes that have a lot of pressure, that's why things like spy baits and, you know, certain JDM baits, or if a new company comes out with something new and innovative, that's why a lot of the times you'll be able to go to a lake and just absolutely hammer fish on it for weeks or months on end until everybody starts to find out about that bait, and then everybody starts to buy it, and then bass start to see it hundreds and hundreds of times throughout the day or thousands of times within a month. They become conditioned to that, and then they no longer want to eat it, and that's when as anglers have to adjust again and go and throw things that bass probably haven't seen a lot of. And like I said, you know, crankbaits are just one example. I mean, we have hard baits, we have plastics. They all mimic something. They all have a profile. They all put off a different sound, and they all have the thousands of colors that we can get. And that's really what it is. That's bass conditioning. That's how that works. You know, it's something I thought I'd share with you guys. It was an idea that I've had for a while that I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about, something that I think about a lot. It's like, why do bass eat that? What are they conditioned to seeing? Why are they where they're at? You know, and then there's 1,000 other factors that play into it. The way the wind's blowing, the weather that day, the water temperature, water level. All those kinds of things are going to position those bass. But knocking out that one part of what are the bass conditioned to seeing, is it a good conditioning, a bad conditioning, am I going to be able to catch bass with what I'm throwing, is just a skill that I think all anglers need to go out there and catch some fish. But, as always guys, thank you for watching. Any questions or comments, go leave them in the comment section down below. If you're new to my channel, make sure and hit that subscribe button. Go check out some more of my videos. Go down in the description. There will be links to some more videos you guys can go watch. Links to my partners, all that kind of stuff. But as always, you guys are sweet. Thanks for watching.